Welcome to the Pregnancy Center's annual fundraising banquet, 2020 Vision. I'm Pastor Chris Ward here at Westminster Presbyterian Church, long supporters of this amazing ministry. Certainly this year, this is a unique way to experience a banquet. Obviously, circumstances don't allow us to meet together, but whether you're watching on your phone or a computer or television or gathered together with a group of friends in a local watch party, we just want to say we're so very thankful and honored that you have chosen to be with us in this moment. As you saw on your screen a moment ago, our theme comes from the prophet Isaiah 43, verses 18 and 19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Forget the former things, the Lord says. I imagine that a lot of us would like to forget 2020 as a year. This year has been so challenging and has required creativity and resilience in order to adapt to a constantly changing landscape. And yet, here in the midst of the craziness, in the midst of the wilderness, our God has been present. And the truth is, He is faithful in this ministry still. I love the fact that this passage is actually rooted in an extended declaration by God of His love and purposes for His people. He's a God who redeems, He says. He calls us by name. We are His. Our lives, every life matters. And God promises to be right there with us, doing new things, making a way through the wilderness. And that's exactly what the Pregnancy Center has continued to do this year and will continue to do with your support. Helping people to know that they are not alone, that their lives matter. You're about to hear some inspiring stories from clients who have been provided care and a compelling message from our keynote speaker, Victoria Robinson, and some of the most recent updates from our center. At the end of this, we're going to invite you and encourage you to make a financial gift to continue to support the ministry and work of the Pregnancy Center so that we might continue to point this truth out to people that our God walks with us and that He has purpose for our lives. So we invite you to get comfortable and enjoy this brief presentation on all that's happening at the Pregnancy Center. And we hope that you will be inspired to give generously and join in the work, and also to share this event with others that you think might connect well to the ministry of the Pregnancy Center. May God bless us all as we take this journey together. Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, lead us on in this time. Come and meet with us and speak to us, Lord, that together we might hear what you want to do in this valley and in this world. And we ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Enjoy.
About a month before I was pregnant, I hated the world. I hated myself, and I absolutely hated everybody who was happy. I was a very heavy user of heroin and meth. I felt very low. I had no confidence, I had no happiness, I had completely given up on myself. And I had even tried to purposefully overdose at a friend's house. And fortunately, I was found unconscious in her bathroom floor and was sent to detox for about a week. After I got out of detox, I decided to stay sober. And about 7 weeks after Christmas, I was at a friend's house and I found out I was pregnant. I really enjoyed having the support. I don't think I could have done it by myself at all. About 10 weeks pregnant, I found the perfect guy. He not only fell in love with me, but he fell in love with the little girl that I'd be bringing into this world. And she was never just my baby, she was our baby. He absolutely loved going to the ultrasounds, watching her move and grow. One of the first things that I learned at the Pregnancy Center was I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought I had a good idea of what being a new mom would be like, but I quickly realized I had no idea. I've become a very confident new mom. I've learned some new tips and tricks about how to soothe a fussy baby, how to swaddle, how to properly breastfeed. And I didn't know there was a wrong way to breastfeed. My mom and a few of my aunts have actually wished that they had a program like this when they were having their children, because they were absolutely terrified. They didn't get classes that taught you how to breastfeed or what signs to look for when your baby is gassy or hungry. One word to describe how I feel now versus before is confident and absolutely ready.
Hey, my name is John Newman. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a transplant here in Medford, Oregon. I've been here about 9 years. I'm married to the same lady for the last 17 years. We have 3 little children. They're all girls, 7, 2, and 9 months old. Actually, my spouse heard about it through the Medford YMCA. The director of the YMCA had mentioned it to her after she had gotten pregnant with our first daughter, Aubrey. And then my wife followed up by going to the center, walking in and speaking to one of the staff at the desk, who then proceeded to set her up with an appointment and a mentor. And then the process started for us. Why do I like the Pregnancy Center? Well, the Pregnancy Center, it's not just a center. I really want to make that clear that this is an organization that has a heart. This is an organization that has a spiritual backbone. It's got a heartbeat. It's there for families. It's there for children. It helps strengthen families. It helps strengthen children. It provides resources that they need. It provides you with education. You know, when you have a child for the first time, you're blind, you don't get instructions with the child. You need help. You have to be able to get the help through those instructions. So the videos that I've seen, the classes with the mentors, the financial education. I personally got out of debt from the classes that I got from the mentor at the Pregnancy Center. And this is not a story, this is true. I actually was in debt. I had filed bankruptcy. I took the knowledge that I got when I was allowed to go to the classes with my spouse, and I took that knowledge and I used it, and I got out of debt. I paid a car off. So my family now is more financially stable, as well as getting the education about the child development and what to expect each step of the way. And of course, the generousness of this organization, the staff there gives you a very warm welcome. They give you a warm response. They never make you feel like you're somebody that's, not wanted or that you're a nuisance. They want to help you. They're there for you. They have a heart. This is not just an organization, it's a mission. And it's touched my family's life. We are proud to be part of the Pregnancy Center. We consider them an extension of family because we do not have an extension of family right now. So they have been an extension of our family. That is exactly how I see this organization. Listen, brothers, you need to step out of your skin, okay? I'm a big guy. I consider myself a guy's guy, but to be a father, to be a parent, you have to be able to humble yourself and say, what's best for my family? What's best for my child? You cannot hold on to those stereotypes and expect to get those good results. So by humbling yourself, guys, and realizing that you are an important, very important backbone for your child's future and development, and also to be a strong pillar for your family, you have got to be able to allow other people to help you, allow other ideas and knowledge to come into your life. Us men, hey, we're dads, we're fathers, we're husbands. We have to be able to work together with everybody involved in the child's development and through the pregnancy itself. So the stronger we are as men with a heart and a spiritual backbone during that process. It's so important, guys, that you are there as a father and a loving husband and get yourself to the point where you can be comfortable in your own skin to say, love is the key. I'm still a man. I'm a better man.
Hi, everybody. It's Beth, the Executive Director of the Pregnancy Center, and it is my joy and privilege every year to get to share with you the ministry updates of the things that have happened since we were last together and the things that are coming up in the new year. This year has definitely been different, and how we have done ministry has been different. And one of the most interesting things that we've learned at the center is that the calling doesn't change. We're still called to be ministers of reconciliation, and we're still called to help women, walk alongside women and men who find themselves in unexpected pregnancies. And God has revealed new ways and exciting ways for us to continue doing that in spite of all the challenges. Last year, we shared with you about our Sidewalk Advocates program, and we were so excited about it. That began in mid-November. We had trained advocates by November 18th out on the sidewalks in front of the local abortion clinic. And what was amazing is December and January, the statistics of the number of abortions in Jackson County were down by half. So what we've learned from that is that our presence matters. It makes a difference. During that same time period, December through the beginning of February, we were able to meet the needs of 9 women on the van with pregnancy tests, ultrasound, and STI test, and even 1 man came on board for an STI test. We're just picking up the Sidewalk Advocates program again with all the COVID safety precautions in place. So if that is something that excites you, we're going to be moving into Ashland in front of that abortion clinic as well. Let's talk about COVID. Since I just brought that up, our COVID response, we decided collectively, our board and staff decided we wanted to be the kind of people that moved in towards a crisis instead of away from it. But how do we do that safely? So our medical remained open with really strict safety precautions, and our nurses were busy. They were slammed the whole time. People were afraid, and we were honored to be able to be there with them and walk them through that very scary time. The other thing that we did is we pulled all of our diapers and wipes and formula out of our office, loaded it into our van, put it out in our parking lot, and let the whole community come. Stores were closed down, people lost jobs, and store shelves were empty. And so we wanted to be that resource for the entire community. We gave away thousands of diapers. Families came back each week. The most interesting thing of that is at the end, we thought we were going to be empty, that our cupboards would be empty, but because of generous donors, we were able to continue that program for 6 weeks. And when we cleaned up from that program, it was a little bit like the story of the fish and loaves, because our cupboards were completely full and we were ready to start meeting our clients' needs again. It was amazing. We considered it our honor to be able to help the entire community at the beginning of the COVID crisis when everything was so uncertain. Along with having the parking lot parent pantry, we were able to take our parenting and life skills programs. So that's Earn While You Learn and New Moms Club virtual. We were able to find a way to send each of those parenting lessons to the women in the program so they could still do that and earn their mommy money and then make a private appointment to come shop in the parent pantry. It's an exciting time for us because it means that no matter what is happening in a woman's life from this point forward, she will always be able to be part of the program. Then come fall and our fires that we've all just recently survived through. During the fires, we did it again. We emptied our cupboards. We partnered with Family Nurturing Center. We went downtown Medford and gave away thousands of diapers and wipes alongside the folks at Family Nurturing Center. Our center was impacted in the sense that 2 of our volunteers lost their homes. They are both safe. Both of those families are safe, and we're walking with them as best we can. We have decided that we are going to stock up and resupply and be ready for that second wave of helping when all of the national organizations move out of town. The Pregnancy Center will be ready to help the community there. The other exciting thing I want to tell you about is because it's been such a unique year, we've gotten a second website up and running, and it's specifically for ministry partners. It's www.tpcpartners.us. And surprise, if you followed the link to watch tonight's presentation, you're already on that website. So spend some time there, look around, and see what's there. What will be there are our current needs, the things that are happening right now that the center needs, some special requests that we might have. Any videos from me or from some of the other staff giving you updates along the way, events like this one, any fundraisers, staff updates, and volunteer opportunities. All of those things will be there separate from our client website. And we love the fact that we would get to connect with you guys directly that way. Since last year's banquet, we have had 1,800 CAT appointments at the center. We've done more than 200 pregnancy tests, 165 ultrasounds, 131 prenatal prescriptions were given, and 85 STI tests were done. What you can hear by these numbers is that they're bigger than last year's numbers were, in spite of all of what this year has brought us. That just tells you that the need only increases during time of crisis. It doesn't decrease. Coming in 2021, we have some exciting things and some exciting opportunities. The first thing is 3 of our staff members have been trained in a program called EPIC. EPIC is a healthy relationship and sexuality program for middle schoolers and high schoolers. It is approved for public school use. It's already used in all of the Josephine County schools. So we're prepared to take it into the schools when the schools are open again, or to youth groups. So if you work with the church or work with a youth group or work with your pastor, let them know that this is an option, that we can come talk about healthy relationships, healthy sexuality, and what the Bible says about those things as well. The other thing that we told you about at last year's banquet was 24/7 Dad. That's in place. It's been funded by our friends here at Westminster Presbyterian Church. And it's an incentive-based parenting education program specifically for dads. It's written by men, for men, and presented by men as well. So we have one facilitator. We're looking for another second facilitator. However, the facilitator that originally was in place is one of our volunteers who lost his home in the fires. So if we could get a third guy, that would be even better. We're looking for grounded men, men who are grounded in Christ, grounded as dads, actively engaged, and have a passion for helping dads be that. We believe that the dads are the missing link. There's so many services for women and many fewer for men. And so this is the next step in the process of creating whole and healthy families. The third program that we're adding in 2021 is called FEM. It's Fertility, Education, and Medical Management. And what this is a holistic and healthy program for helping women understand how their bodies work and natural family planning. Our goal isn't to replace their physicians. Our goal is to give them information how to understand their body better and how to plan for a family in a natural and holistic way. There are a few things that we need at the center that you might be interested in doing. We are in need of more volunteers. We're in need of volunteers on the sidewalk. We're in need of volunteers for the Earn While You Learn program, men for the DADS program, and our Forgiven and Set Free post-abortion recovery program as well. If you're interested in any of those things, please don't hesitate to give us a call at the office. And of course, your finances. That's the whole purpose of our event this evening, is to let you know of the need. So our van in 2016 and 17, the community raised so much money for the purposes of our mobile medical unit. We call it the Stork van. And that money is running out. In 2021, it will be gone. The cost to run the van with medical services is about $1,000 a month, which will be added into our general funds. So I'm just letting you know of that need, that's now going to become part of our regular monthly need. We've grown so much in spite of all of the challenges that we've lived through, and that growth is going to continue in 21. And we just ask that you join us and become a part of that team that makes the growth happen and continue so that we can continue to meet the needs of women. I just want to thank you all for being with us, spending this time with us. I wish it could be in person. And I know that the board and staff join me in thanking you for spending this time with us. If any of these things have struck a chord with you, don't hesitate to call the office, and know, as always, that we welcome you as part of the Pregnancy Center family.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Beth and the board and the Pregnancy Center in Medford, Oregon for having me. It is such a thrill every time I get invited to speak at a Pregnancy Center fundraising banquet. I speak in churches, youth conferences, and women's conferences. And I love speaking and sharing my story and my passion for the work that I do and for Christ. But one of my most favorite places to speak is when I'm helping to support pregnancy resource centers. And the reason is because I have a background with you guys. Before I came to work for the organization called Save the Storks 2.5 years ago, as their director of external relations, I was the CEO of 3 separate pregnancy centers across the country. And I got to tell you, I have a passion for this work. I always will. I understand the challenges, Beth, that you have and that your staff may have, your board may have, because I've been there for over, oh my gosh, about 20 years before I came to Save the Storks. So that's probably more than likely 100% why this is my most favorite place to speak. I want to do whatever I can to help you, to bring awareness to your communities, and to help you raise the resources you need to keep your vital work going. And I do. I consider it incredibly vital what you do, as I'm sure that those who support you already know, and that you're doing a great job there. So thanks for having me. I'm going to share just for a little bit about myself and why I am pro-life, and about a little bit more about the pro-life issue today. I am the mother of 4 children, and they're all girls, all 4 of them. So lots of estrogen in my house when they were all home, but they're all grown now. 3 of 4 are married. My youngest one lives on her own, but she is 24. She's just not married yet. I have 3 son-in-laws and 8 grandchildren. 1 is on the way. So number 9 is on the way. And I always tell my son-in-laws, keep them coming, keep them coming. Parents, if you are looking at that 3-year-old on the floor for the 4th time today, and they're in their temper tantrum, or that teenager who's slamming a door in your face, or whatever the case is, take a deep breath. And I am here to tell you that those children that are driving you crazy right now are going to give you the greatest reward one day in the grandchildren that you will have, because they are one of my greatest treasures. And I love being a Mimi to my grandchildren. It is the best thing ever. So I am very blessed to have a great family. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been speaking on the pro-life issue, going on 23 years now. It is a passion to me. It is a mission for me. And it came about honestly. Over 33 years ago, I was a single mother with 2 little girls that were 9 months old and 3 years old when my husband decided he didn't want to be married anymore. And when I say he just left, I mean he went from where we lived in North Carolina all the way to California to start a new life, and left us behind. He got as far away as he could. And I was devastated. I never wanted to be divorced. I came from a divorced family, and I had made a pact with myself and a promise that once I had children, I would do whatever I had to stay married for their sake, so they wouldn't go through the pain that I had gone through. But when one party decides they don't want to be married anymore, what can you do besides chain them to the door? And I wasn't about to do that. So he left, and here I was, a single mom. My self-esteem was shot to pieces. I felt like I didn't deserve anything good. I felt like a failure. I was crushed. I was devastated. I cried and cried and cried. I tried to be the mother to my children they needed. It was not easy getting up in the morning, but I had to. I had 2 little mouths to feed. So I ended up working 2 jobs just to pay bills and keep food on the table. And unfortunately, every morning I would drop them off at daycare around 6 in the morning to go to my one of 2 jobs. And I couldn't pick them up till 6 or 7 o'clock at night sometimes. It was really difficult for them as well. And There were more days than I can count where the girls were just grabbing me, begging me not to leave them. Mommy, please don't go. But I had to. I didn't have a choice because their father was not sending us any financial support, any emotional support, and never even visited them. When he left, he left. So here I was to pick up the pieces with these little girls saying, where's our daddy? And why doesn't he love us anymore? And why doesn't he come see us? And it was not easy. So one of my jobs was working at a fitness center, a health club in Charlotte, North Carolina. And not long into the job, I met a guy that was interested in me, and I quickly became interested in him. The fact that a guy was showing me attention was huge at that time because I felt so unloved and so unwanted. I fell madly in love with him, and 9 months into the relationship, I was pregnant. When I told him that I was pregnant, I didn't expect him to be thrilled about it because he knew I was struggling as a single mom and we weren't married. And he saw how I was, trying to make ends meet with the 2 little girls that I had. And frankly, he wasn't ready to get married. And I didn't know that I was either, ready to be married again. But never could I have imagined that he would bring up the subject of abortion, but he did. And he told me that he felt that was the best decision for us. He said, we can have kids later, but I'm not ready to be a father. And I don't think you should have a 3rd child. We're not married. You're already struggling. It was easy to convince me that this was not a good idea. And when I called the abortion clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina, I spoke to the woman there, told her my story, that my husband had left and abandoned us. Here I was now with a new boyfriend. I wasn't married, still struggling with the 2 kids I had. And she listened very attentively. And when I was done, she said, well, I agree with your boyfriend. I think that is the best choice for you. And I think you'd be really selfish to bring another child into the world when you can barely feed the 2 that you have. So let's get you in right away. It won't take long. You're very early in your pregnancy, so it's nothing more than removing a tooth or a tumor. There's nothing there but a blob of tissue, clump of cells, but we'll get it taken care of for you. And so let's get you in this weekend. So I made an appointment and secured one on that Saturday morning, 9 a.m. My boyfriend had to go out of town for work, so he couldn't take me. I hadn't told anybody that I was pregnant or that I would be getting an abortion. I was too ashamed. I felt too bad about it, which should have been a clue. I got a babysitter to watch my daughters, and I remember them sitting on the floor playing with puzzles, and I bent down and kissed them both goodbye. They waved bye, Mommy, and I told the sitter I'd be back in a few hours. And I drove myself the 25, 30 minutes to the abortion clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was a very tall building, maybe 10 stories high, a white, yellowish building. And I pulled into the parking lot. But before I even got there, I can remember having my hand on my stomach and begging this child for forgiveness. Well, this blob of tissue, this clump of cells, that wasn't anything, right? It's what I was told. There was nothing there, but yet I had my hand on my stomach, begging this child for forgiveness and saying to my unborn baby, this is the best decision for you. And you don't want to be brought into this mess of my life. It's just not the right time. And it's not fair to your sisters. I can barely take care of them. And this is the best choice for you. Which now when I think about it and when you hear me say it, it probably sounds insane. But when you're a woman in a crisis and you don't know where to turn, it's easy to manipulate you. It's easy to lie to you. And it's easy for that young woman to believe whatever you say because she needs to. So I walked into that building and took the floor up to the 4th or 5th floor to the abortion clinic. And when I walked in on that Saturday morning, which was the day they performed abortions, that week was on Saturdays. Those were the only days that week, I believe, that they performed abortions. The waiting room was full, filled with women just like me, but no one was looking around. Everyone either had their head down, they were looking at their nails and fidgeting or rifling through magazines, but no one looked around. You didn't make eye contact with anybody. The guilt and shame you could sense in that room was thick. and they called my name. It was the same woman behind the desk who I'd spoken to on the phone earlier in the week who had made my appointment. And I began to share with her once again, like I did on the phone, that I was struggling, that I was, I didn't know if it was the right decision. I really wasn't sure. I knew the outcome of a pregnancy. I told her I had 2 children of my own, and I just didn't know, was I doing the right thing? Please tell me, am I doing the right thing? And she took my hand and she said, oh, honey, do you think the government would allow this to be legal if it could harm you in any way? And that's a whole nother subject for another day. She said, it's like I told you on the phone. You're so early in the pregnancy, there's barely anything there. That's why we're going to take care of it today. While it's still just nothing more than having a tooth pulled. It'll be over before you know it. And when you leave here, never think of it again. Another lie, because when I left that place, I never thought of anything else. To this day, I still think about it. I went into the next room, which was the procedure room, and abortion is graphic. The doctor told me to scoot down from the table and spread my legs. I put them on the stirrups, and he started getting all his equipment ready. I'm crying. I'm saying to the nurse, am I doing the right thing? And she's rubbing my arm, and she's telling me it'll be over in just a few minutes. You're fine. You're doing the right thing. This is right. It's going to be over soon. It's okay. I could tell she was a little bit irritated. The doctor never spoke to me besides telling me to scoot down and spread my legs. That's the only thing he said until he was walking out the room. Within 10 minutes, it was over. The machine was loud, and I lie there on this gurney, on this table, looking at the ceiling, thinking, get out of here, Vic, get out of here. What are you doing? What are you doing? You have children. Get out of here. But I was so paralyzed with fear. I was paralyzed with this fear of making them angry or making my boyfriend angry, thinking I needed to do this for everybody else. And when he was finished, as he was walking out the door, I called after him and said, can you tell me what it was? Was it a boy? Was it a girl? And he turned around, this short little man with white hair. And he said, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. I don't have time for this. I have other people to see. So no, I don't know. And he walked out. Never saw him again. They took me into the next room, which was the recovery room, and told me to take 2 Tylenol that they gave me and stay here for 30 minutes before you leave. They wanted to make sure there wasn't more bleeding or pain that I shouldn't be having, or excessive bleeding, because you bleed for days after. The room was a large room filled with cots, and every cot was full. Every single bed had someone on it, and women were bent over. They were sobbing. They were screaming out. Some were silent. It was just the most horrific sound you could ever hear. And I grabbed my things. I lasted 5 minutes. I said, I have to get out of here. You can't make me stay. And I put on my clothes and I rushed out as quickly as I could and got on the same elevator that had carried me up an hour prior. Now I was taking it down to the parking lot. I can tell you that the woman who walked into that elevator was not the same one who was now walking out. Because that person who walks into an abortion clinic is not the same person when they leave that abortion clinic. I knew immediately that I had just made the biggest mistake of my life. I knew immediately that this was going to change me. And it did. It changed me in ways I never dreamed. And for 10 years, I lived with the guilt and the shame and the condemnation, the self-condemnation. I felt I didn't deserve to be happy. So I self-sabotaged any good relationship and stayed in bad ones that were abusive because I thought I deserved to be hit. I deserved to be cheated on because I took the life of my own child. So who could I be to expect anything more than that? And it wasn't until I walked into a pregnancy resource center in North Carolina and shared my secret with the executive director there. And she said, we're going to get you in post-abortion counseling because I know God is going to take what the enemy meant to destroy you and turn it into good, but you've got to go through healing first. And that's exactly what I did. I got in post-abortion healing. I became a volunteer at this pregnancy center and then ended up eventually becoming the executive director of that center 7 years later. And I have been passionate about the pro-life issue ever since. And I want to tell you something. After I went through post-abortion counseling, when my book was finished, I wrote a book called They Lied to Us. It's available on Amazon if you want to get it, or I'll bring it with me hopefully one day when I come to see you in person. But before I published my book, I called the father of my aborted child. I just felt like I needed to tell him about the book. We hadn't spoken since we broke up, which was 9 months after the abortion. When an abortion occurs, statistics prove that 9 out of 10 couples break up. So girls are having abortions to keep their husbands or their boyfriends, but the relationships are destroyed. It's a constant reminder of what you did. I never looked at him the same. He never looked at me the same. It destroyed our relationship. Here were the promises of getting married later and having children later, yet we didn't even last. So I hadn't talked to him in years, in over a decade, but I called him because I felt like I needed to tell him about the book, even though I changed any identifying factors in the book. When he answered the phone and I said, hi, he knew it was me. He began to weep, immediately began to just sob. He said, I've been waiting for this call for over 10 years, over a decade, to beg you for forgiveness for what I made you do, to tell you that it's haunted me all these years and I've been in therapy for 8 years dealing with it. I should have protected you and our child and I didn't. Can you ever forgive me? Now, in that moment, I realized that I thought I'd forgiven him, but I hadn't completely forgiven him, and I did. And it was so freeing for me. But the second thing that I realized in that phone call was that men are hurting too, not just women. These children have mothers and they have fathers, and we cannot forget about the men that are struggling from an abortion, whether they paid for it, talked her into it, drove her, or they didn't even know. It may not happen right away. But I have met so many men in my travels as I've been speaking all over the country and even abroad who have said to me, thank you for not forgetting about us. I'm hurting too, but yet they don't want to recognize that we were those babies' fathers. So I'm going to tell you that abortion destroys not just a woman's life, but those men as well. And those babies that are taken. Thank God, as a Christian, I know that my child is with Christ. And those aborted children, every day that are aborted, immediately are with Jesus. That's what my Christian faith tells me. But the mothers and fathers are the ones left here to deal with the ramifications of the choice. And that's why pregnancy centers are so critical. Because when you reach these men and women before they walk into an abortion clinic, and you share love and compassion with them and other options besides abortion, they won't have to live with what myself and millions of others like me have had to live with and will live with for the rest of our lives. Yes, God has healed me from having an abortion. Yes, I know he's forgiven me. But like a man or woman who's a drunk and they're reformed still craves the drink, the mother and father of that aborted child will always long to have that child here. So abortion is destroying not only the child's life in the womb, but those parents as well. And it has a ripple effect in families with siblings and grandparents and et cetera, et cetera. Abortion is not pro-woman. There is nothing pro-woman about abortion. So thank you for your giving tonight, today, this morning, whenever you're watching, and make sure you give to the best of your ability to the Pregnancy Center there in Medford, Oregon, so they can continue this life-affirming work. Thank you again for having me, and I hope to meet you in person one day. God bless you guys.
I'm Christina, and I heard about the Pregnancy Center. It's pretty funny. I was actually on Google and I was looking for an abortion clinic. And like it was one of the first things that popped up, and I thought that you guys like assisted with abortion, and that's why I called. And instead, like I didn't even like ask initially when I called about anything about abortion. I just like scheduled an appointment, and I found out that you guys weren't an abortion clinic, and ended up keeping my baby. So, yeah. Well, at the time I just turned 21, and I kind of had just gotten off of using like narcotics with my partner who I'm with now, who our relationship is really stable, like ever since I decided to keep the baby, and we've not been using drugs. It was a pretty bad situation, and I financially just felt like I wasn't ready to have a baby. I felt like my age was too young. I was like really inexperienced as like a person, and I thought that I wasn't going to be capable like to be a mother. And that's when I ended up coming here like literally every week for like the first 6 weeks that I was pregnant, until I like finally like made the decision to keep a baby and go through the program here, and it's completely transformed my life. All the women here have experienced something traumatic in their lives and like overcome it in a way harder time than I'm in now. In a sense that like in a time where women didn't even have respect, like all the women here have really been through so much. Like it's really crazy. And you would not even think that. Like you wouldn't think that all the people here have had the similar traumatic story that you've gone through and had gone through the same situations of whether to keep their child or not, or whether they could be a good mom. And I really resonated with that, and I felt a lot of love. I really came in here with the thought of, okay, like I wanted support to get an abortion, you know? And where I got support saying like it's okay for you to do this, but like they could see through that. They could see like me emotionally as a person, like that I wasn't going to be making the right decision. I don't know. They cared about me more than my own mom, like, has cared about me, like, in my entire life. So that's, like, yeah, the first ultrasound, I didn't think too much. I wasn't thinking too much of it, really, until I started to come more and more, and I got, like, more faith. They helped me, like, mend my relationship with God. They helped me see that God was, like, there for me. Like, I had really struggled with that, especially when you're on drugs. It's, like, really hard for you to see that God's there for you. And then when you don't have a motherly figure in your life, like, being a woman and going through the things that I've gone through, that's, like, really hard. But I got that, like, through the pregnancy center. Wow, he's changed. He's, like, it's really amazing. He himself has been through a lot. And struggles with emotions and showing emotions and wanting to participate. And through me coming to the pregnancy center, and I got a real ground for myself to I was afraid. He was pretty abusive in the beginning of this, coming off of drugs. And I stuck by him, and he saw that I was staying by this, and that I was going to be a mother, and I was going to come here and like do everything that I could to educate myself and be the best mom that I can, that in turn made him want to participate. And he started coming, and now he is trying to be the best dad that he can be, found like faith himself, and even open to like learning about Christianity and growing up Muslim. So it's like, it's really crazy. He's transformed. Like his anger is like, it's not the same. He's been able to like step back and like look at situations a lot differently just through meeting people here, through meeting the mentor, and like getting a sense that everything is okay. He was just really scared. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of young dads. They get scared and then they don't get a sense of security, so they run away. And so like the pregnancy center became a sense of security for him. I would say go to the pregnancy center because the support is amazing. Like as soon as you come in with like any background or story, like it doesn't matter. Like they're like here with open arms to listen to you and give you the best support. even if you're coming here because you're going to get an abortion and that's what you're set on, like, they're going to be support for that. They're going to help you heal from like what you're going through and help you realize who you are as a person and your potential. It's like much more than just coming here because you can get free, like you can get free stuff. Like that's amazing, like on top of it, but you gain so much knowledge and information. Like going through pregnancy without the pregnancy center, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it. Like with the amount of anxiety that I have, it's like, it's crazy. Like I feel so much more prepared as a mom. Like I feel comfortable going into labor now, like just by coming to this program and getting the support that I've had, knowing that people are praying for you all the time, like that's a wonderful sense of security as well. I think just seeing the people here is really nice because everybody's so like loving. Like you never, if you're having like a really bad day and you come, like you're guaranteed to like leave smiling because everybody's so just loving and caring and just ready for you and everything that you have to offer.
Once again, thank you for being with us today. We hope that you have been inspired and encouraged, that God continues to do amazing and new things, even in the midst of our circumstances. Your gifts of support today will go directly towards helping women and men like Sarai and Christina and John, so that they too can choose life for their unborn babies and make abundant life choices for themselves and for their families. Along with your generous one-time gift today, we'd also like you to consider becoming a monthly donor or increasing your monthly donation amount. Those faithful gifts allow us to continue to meet the basic ongoing expenses. And there are several ways that you can give. First, included in your invitation or at your watch party is a response card. Just fill that out, adding your check, your cash, or your credit card information, and mail it to the Pregnancy Center at 2019 Arrow Way, number 103, Medford, Oregon, 97504. Or hand it to your watch party hosts and allow them to do it for you. Second way is if you're watching via the link sent in your registration confirmation, well, just click on the donate button below this video, and it will direct you to a secure online giving platform. You can also call the center between 6 and 8 p.m. on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, or during regular business hours on other days at 541-772-1921. And a friendly staff member will be ready to take your information on the phone. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope that you'll stay in touch with us throughout the year to see how God continues to use your gifts in guiding women and men through the wilderness of an unplanned pregnancy. You have been and are a blessing. Would you pray with me? Lord, again, thank you for walking with us on this journey. Thank you for your ongoing faithfulness, Lord, and your declaration that all of our lives matter to you. Continue to walk with us, Lord, we ask again, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. God bless you. Good night.